Good evening and welcome to Lesson 5-9 on powers of products and quotients. In tonight's lesson we have two objectives. First, you will be able to find powers of products, and you will be able to find powers of quotients. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, in the past we've talked about two properties. One is a commutative property and one is the associative. Remember, commutative property is when you can change the order and it still is the same sum or product. 1 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 1. Associative is when you change what's in the parentheses. The order is still the same, but you can change what's in parentheses. So what I have down here is an example of something we're going to sort of start working with tonight. And then we start with 4 times 2 cubed. All right. When we talk about cubing something, again, that means that's how many times you're timesing it. So here you can see how I wrote it 3 times. 4 times 2 times a product, 4 times 2 times a product, 4 times 2. Well, using the commutative property, I switched it so all my 4's were over here. So I changed the order. And here I put all my 2's over here. Again, I'm still dealing with the same thing. I just switched the order. And then I used the associative property right away as well, because I had 4 times 4 times 4, and then I had times 2 times 2 times 2. So I changed the grouping as well. So the same things are not in the parentheses. So you can see how both commutative and associative property were used in this example. Well, then to simplify it, well, 4 times 4 times 4 is the same thing as 4 cubed. Well, this 2 times 2 times 2 is the same thing as 2 cubed. So if we go back to the original, 4 times 2 cubed, you'll notice all that really changed was from here to here. This 3 went to each one. The 4 is still the base. The exponent, though, is 3. And here, my base is 2. My exponent is 3. So I just added the exponent to each one of those. That's what tonight's lesson, or the first part of tonight's lesson, is about. It's raising a product to a power. To raise a product to a power, raise each factor to that power. So here, for example, A, 3 is on the outside, so I'm going to do 2 cubed times 3 cubed. That's the same thing as 2 times 3 cubed. And then I should simplify it. If you're dealing with numbers, you need to simplify. 2 cubed, or 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then 3 cubed, or 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. If you solve that, you get 216. So 2 times 3 cubed is 216. Now B, we have our algebra in here. We have a variable. We have 2p to the 4th power. It's going to work the same way. You're going to bring that 4th power to each factor in here. So this 4 goes to the 2, and it goes to the p. But we still simplify it. So 2 to the 4th, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And I have times p to the 4th. That's all I can do with it. The variable has to be left alone. So here we have this one. Right? Now, again, you're going to put that 4 to each term. We have 3 to the 4th. Then we have z to the 5th to the 4th power. Now, that one has 2 powers going on. So we're going to have to do a little work on that. But let's start with this one. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, well, that's 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 again is 81. Now, we have here z to the 5th to the 4th power, meaning we have 4 groups of z to the 5th. Really, when we're doing that, that's what it means. So if I do this, again, I could simplify this out even more and write 5 z's for each one of these. Z to the 5th is the same as 5 z's. So if I add this up, if each one of these has 5, 5, 10, 15, 20. Z to the 5th to the 4th power is z to the 20th. And again, we talked about this last chapter in chapter 4 about multiplying a power to a power. You end up multiplying those together. So you get 81 z to the 20th power. It's your turn now. I would like you to solve both of these. Simplify negative 3a to the 4th times negative 3 times a to the 4th power. And then here we have the opposite of 3 times a to the 4th power. So go ahead and pause me now. All right, let's go ahead and solve this one then. On this one, we have negative 3 to the 4th power. Now again, because it is -3, that is what we're actually multiplying here. So I'm going to put that in parentheses so I know that it's a -3 and not just 3 to the 4th power. Then I have times a to the 4th. Well, -3 4 times, and again, I could do the work, that's a +9 times -3 is a -27 times -3 is a +81. So I get 81 times a to the 4th. All right, let's check B now. On this one, this 4 is going to just the numbers here. So really we have 3 to the 4th times a to the 4th. Well, I just did the work up here, really. 3 to the 4th is 81, and then a to the 4th is a to the 4th. Now this would be our answer, except this negative sign on the outside. It changes it to a -81 times a to the 4th. So that's the first part of your lesson tonight. The second part of your lesson talks about raising a quotient to a power. So now we're into the dividing stage. To raise a quotient to a power, raise both the numerator and denominator to that power. So here I have this example. 2/3 cubed is the same thing as 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. Well, again, if you look at the factors or the numbers in the numerator, 2 times 2 times 2, well, that's the same thing as 2/3. Down here, we have in the denominator 3 times 3 times 3, which is the same as 3/3. So you can see how this 3 on the outside goes both to the numerator and denominator. So we have 3 cubed over 4 cubed. Again, I just took that power of 3 to both the numerator and denominator. Then, of course, you should simplify. 3 times 3 times 3 is what they give you, which is 27. And then I have 4 times 4 times 4. Well, 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 one more time is 64. I get 27/64. And I believe that can't be simplified, so that would be my answer. So here we have this one, and it's a word problem of it. Find the area of a square with a side length of x divided by 4. Use a is equal to s squared. Now, some people get confused because we talk about a side length of being x to the 4th, some number divided by 4. That's how long this side is. And since it's a square, it's how long each one of these sides are. All right, so that's the length. You're going to treat it as if it was a regular number. Now, to find the area, we usually take the side squared. So we're going to do that. Area is equal to side squared. Well, the side is x divided by 4. I'm going to square it. Well, we use that rule. You do it to both the numerator and denominator. So I have x squared over 4 squared. And to simplify it, well, x squared can't be simplified, but 4 squared is the same as 4 times 4, which is 16. So here we have x squared divided by 16. That's our answer. So now I have these ones for you to do. A is -2 over 3 to the 4th power, and B, I have 2x squared over 3 to the 3rd power. Just a hint for B, remember, this variable of 3, or this power, goes to every single thing in the numerator and denominator. So keep that in mind when you solve these. Though I want you to try them first, and then when you're all done, come back, check your answers. So go ahead and pause me now. All right, let's check it, shall we? So this one I have -2/3 to the 4th power, which again means -2 to the 4th, and then 3 to the 4th. So here I have -2 times -2 times -2 times -2, which is +16, because -2 times -2 is 4, -8, +16. And then I have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. All right, so that would be our answer. And then we have B now. Now this one I have in the numerator 2 cubed, then x squared cubed, all divided by 3 cubed. So again, you can see how that 3 went to all of them. And then I simplify. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Here's another one where we have a power to a power. So you end up multiplying them. Or you have 3 groups of x squared. So you have x to the 6th. And then 3 cubed is 27. And I take a look, can I simplify this? I don't believe so. 8 and 27 can't be simplified anymore. So that would be my answer. 8 times x to the 6th divided by 27. That is your lesson tonight. Tonight we looked at how to do powers of products and powers of quotients. Have a good night and see you in class tomorrow. Bye-bye.